Hi all, it's JK here with another video. Just doing a bit of late night shopping before I head home. It's been a while and I'm sorry about that. It's just that I've been pretty busy just pissing about with my PS4, to be honest, playing Call of Duty Black Ops 4, part of a clan on that. We're on about doing a YouTube channel, so that might be interesting. And Red Dead Redemption 2, so I've been busy doing that. I've also been busy doing the gym. So yeah, it's just one of them things where I've just been too busy to go out in the golf. Today is actually the first time I've driven this car in 3 weeks. The whole of Christmas it's been off the road. I've just been eating, drinking and being merry. So Happy New Year. Hope you've all had a good Christmas. So this video is about why I paid cash for this car. Now to me, taking out a car loan is quite a big risk. You're assuming that, for example, you're going to be in good health. That's one, which is, you're highly likely not to fall ill, but it does happen. People do fall ill and lose their jobs. And you're assuming that the economy is never going to recede. You're assuming there'll never be a recession. Now, that's a very naive assumption to make. Okay, so the last recession we had was the 2008 and 9 financial crisis. Obviously, we haven't got over that yet. Truth be told, banks are still in a mess, but that's another video. But basically, since then, some of you younger guys have probably never experienced a recession. So, and what that means is, obviously, house prices keep going up, people keep their jobs, wages haven't gone up, which is interesting. So, as a result of zero interest rates or near zero interest rates, people have been able to afford cars on finance and cheap mortgages because of low rates. So, you could get a mortgage for 2%. That's peanuts, so why not? And that obviously is fueled house prices and so on and so forth. But Brexit looming, at the time I was looking at this car, I assumed that we would, at least the UK, would go into a recession as a result of Brexit. So basically I made a bet. I bet that the country was going to vote out. I also bet that the government doesn't want to go out, so that will cause more uncertainty and it would make the Great British Pound collapse, or at least dive. I think it's gone down, 14% since the Brexit vote. So it hasn't gone down as bad as I thought it would, given the bullshit that the government's doing, basically trying to derail Brexit. So that's why I paid cash. 2 reasons: recession and health. Now, you might think that's a bit cynical, and you might think, but Jay, you could have put that 20 grand, you could have put, say, 7k down, paid £280 a month, and put 20 grand in Royal Dutch Shell shares, which over the same period I've owned this car, yeah, they've gone up 80%, not including the dividend. A yearly dividend of 5.5%. So if you got stocks and shares, I say, and you put 20 grand in Shell, and you've appreciated 40% plus, you'd be laughing. That would have been the wise thing to do. But are you really going to risk £20,000 and put it in equities, in a company like Shell? All right, you might diversify your portfolio. But what happens if, you get a mixed portfolio where, and this has happened to my boss, where his portfolio is basically broke even. He's had half his shares do well, which ironically are oil shares and oil service shares, infrastructure and shares that haven't done so well. So, it's a risk. And to me, I do not like risk. I don't like debt. The other reason I don't like debt is because when I was younger, back in my uni days, I had a Type R and I had it on finance and I had it on the minimum loan, maximum loan possible. So I put like 2 grand down and borrowed 15. And it was great. I had my job at Morrison's, I had my contract phone, I was going out with the lads, bowling, dating and all that jazz, right? Basically, all I had to myself at the end of the month was 80 quid, and I didn't really care. I was like, oh, well, one day I'm going to have a great job and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, in Christmas of 2006, I was really, really ill, had really bad flu. But because I had all these outgoings, car finance, mobile phone, so on and so forth, I could do autos. Stop, start now. See if it turns off. What was I saying? Because I had all these outgoings and literally only had 80 quid spare, I couldn't afford to miss a day's wages or a month's wages. I couldn't afford it. I wouldn't have got very good sick pay working at Morrison's, I don't think. So, working with the flu at retail during Christmas period, you ask anybody that works in a Morrison's or a Tesco or a Sainsbury's or any retail role, you'll know that Christmas is the shittest time of year to work. It's depressing, it's manic, you're constantly on the go, and when you fit as a fiddle, that's not a nice place to be. So imagine being flued up, really badly flued up, to the point where I used to go on the shop floor with freezer coats. I worked at Morrison's and we had these freezer coats, and I used to take 2 of them and wear them on the shop floor. I was that cold with the flu. So basically, at the end of that period, when I recovered from the flu, luckily it didn't ruin my Christmas, but it was just a build up to Christmas it killed. I decided there and then, never again with car finance or any sort of debt, if I can help it. And since then I've lived by that rule. Luckily, you know, I've been able to afford the lifestyle I like. I haven't been buying new cars every 5 minutes. I'll be honest with you. This Golf was the first new car I'd bought in 10 years, I think. Well, how old was what was it, 2016? Yeah, 10 years. My Type R had literally turned 10 the day I took delivery of this Golf. So I'm a lucky guy where I can be easily satisfied, easily pleased, you know, content with what I've got. So really, I could stick with this Golf R for years. I'm not going to do that because I would like another nice car. I'd like a Porsche or the BMW M2. But my point is, if I'm going to buy a Porsche or if I'm going to buy an M2, A, I'm going to be really aggressive when I buy it, and B, I'm paying cash. I will never do finance, any PCP. And you might be sitting there saying, yeah, but Jay, what about depreciation? You know, PCP protects you against depreciation. That's not true. People do believe that, but it isn't true. Correct me if I'm wrong, but giving you the example that VW tried to sell me, right? So they offered me 4.9% with a 7k deposit and a balloon payment of 18,006 equity. So 18,600 equity after 2 years with less than 20k miles on the clock, right? I've just had this car valued by WeBuyAnyCar.com because I keep getting it. Well, I don't get it valued, right? I had it valued 3 months ago, and they keep sending me an email saying, good news, your car's gone up in value. So at the minute now, this car is worth 23. According to WeBuyAnyCar, I can go to WeBuyAnyCar tomorrow and get 23 grand cash money for this car. Now that's a bit more equity than 18 grand, isn't it, that VW offered me. And bear in mind, VW are like, it's got to stay under this mileage. And bear in mind, I told them, I says, look me, I'm going to be doing at most 3,000 miles a year. So why am I only getting 18k, you know, as equity towards the next car? And he said, oh, we might give you a bit more. And I was like thinking, yeah, you're gonna give me a bit more, but what you don't know is I'm paying cash. So all right, keep talking, keep trying to do your sales thing, and then I paid cash anyway. So on top of that, right, the low equity they offered me, bear in mind the car would have only done 6,000 miles, and it was a 2-year lease as well, personal lease. On top of that, the day that we did the deal, bear in mind all contracts are signed, so basically there's no way out of the deal now. They've took your money, they've took my 7 grand. The dealer walks over to me and says, oh Jay, by the way, the interest rate's gone up. I was like, what interest rate? He goes, oh, on the PCP agreement. For some reason he thought I was on the PCP. I says, what? He goes, yeah, it's gone up. He says, but don't worry, we'll give you an extra 50 quid back. So they gave me an extra 50 quid back refund. But yeah, it went up from 4.9% to 5.2%. I mean, I don't know what percentage-wise that is, but it's quite a lot. It's I don't know off the top of my head. What is it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what it is percentage-wise. But that's not right to do that, in my opinion. How can they do an agreement with you, right, and sign the agreement and legally tie you to the agreement, but when it comes to the day of collection of the car, and I had that great celebration, and it was a fantastic day, I loved it. So it's an experience I'm looking forward to again when I buy my next car. But how can they turn around to you and say, oh, the interest has gone up, well, don't worry about it. Well, of course I'm going to worry. You've just increased my debt legally with my hands tied, so there's no way. Maybe you have got rights, you probably have got rights where you say, well, you've done that now, so I'm pulling out the deal, because that's not right. So I don't expect legally you have got a way out of that, but that seemed wrong to me. Well, it is wrong. It doesn't seem wrong. It legally and morally is wrong what they did. But that's what they did, yeah, on the day of collection. He assumed I on PCP, and he said, oh, don't worry, well, I got the refund. They gave me 50 quid refund, but I don't know how that happened. They somehow thought I was on the finance agreement. So that was another 50 quid I made back. So yeah, you know, that's why I don't like PCP. It's another reason I don't like it is I spoke to lots of friends and family. My Greek friends do a lot of new cars, and they told me straight, Jay, don't touch PCP. They're with VW. They always go for diesel, anything, Beetles, Polos, whatever, for the business. And because they do property letting as well. And they said to me, Jay, basically what happens is, on the day of returning the car, where you have the option of taking the balloon payment or, you know, giving them the car back, walk away from the deal, they tried to walk away and VW found a list of faults. They gave them a list of faults and it was quite an expensive list. And they disagreed. They took it, I think they took it to court. And I don't know what happened. It's worth catching up with them and seeing what happened. But this was, how long ago was this now? It's about 18 months ago. I spoke to them about it. But yeah, they took them to court and it got nasty basically. It got to the point where they were throwing keys at them and leaving cars dumped in a car park because they were so poor with. And also they were pissed off about the diesel scandal. They got caught by that as well. And VW didn't treat them very well. So yeah, that's basically it. Cash is king. If you've got cash, you've got power, you've got total freedom. And what it means is now we are going into recession, and it's a global recession as well, so it potentially could be quite serious, is I've got my Golf Cash, it looks good, it smells brand new, it's only done 6,500 miles. So as far as I'm concerned, I've got a car that's pretty much perfect for sitting out at the end of the world. You know, if the recession does end, if I do lose my job, I don't care, I've got no debts, I've got savings in the bank, a couple of years, so I could survive a couple of years, maybe more if I really ration it. And that's peace of mind, that's total freedom. You know, if you're going to sleep every night and you're worried about your debts, if you're I know landlords, you know, they've got buy-to-let mortgages and they're in total debt with their mortgages, and they can't sleep at night because they're worried about arrears. They're literally on treading water, where, especially with the new tax rules, where they now have to finally pay tax on their rental income. They're treading water and they literally can't sleep at night. They're like, Jay, I'm worried about the recession. What do you think will happen? And I tell them straight, I say, well, I think we're going to go into recession, and I think I'm going to be able to buy a house for 30% cheaper. And they're there going, fuck off, it will never happen. And I'm like saying to them, then why are you worried? If you don't think that will ever happen, if you don't think we're going into recession, if you don't think you're going to default because of all your debts. I mean, one guy in particular I'm thinking of, he's got 5 buy-to-let properties, he's my age, he's just bought a Q7 on, well, he says he's bought it, but it's probably on a lease. It's a brand new one. He's had 3 new cars in the past 2 years, all Audis. So, and here he is talking to me about, oh, do you think we're going into recession? Well, does that sound like worry to you? Does that sound like panic? Because to me, that sounds like worry. And here's me with my 2-year-old Golf, and he's there saying, oh, get a new car. So I will do when I'm ready, mate. Don't you worry about me and my cars and my money. You focus on yourself. So, yeah, here I am. Cool as a cucumber, sat in the pub drinking my Guinness, and there he is going on about recessions, and I couldn't give a fuck. If we go into recession, great, it means I can buy an house cheap. If we don't go into recession, great, I'll just carry on saving and invest in building. You know, there's it don't really matter to me, but the point is, if I had a finance agreement, I would be worried. If I had car payments going out, if I had mobile phone contract going out, I don't have a phone contract either, I'm on pay as you go. So seriously, I do not like debt. And yeah, that's basically it. That's why I paid cash. I've never been so happy. I've got no worries, and I could lose my job tomorrow and I wouldn't give a fuck, because this car's mine outright. I can get, it's cash money waiting to be cashed in. Anyway, that's my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know about PCP. I've got a friend who's on lease contract hire as well, and he gets the VAT back, so that might be better than paying cash for a car if you like changing cars every couple of years. But for me, personal contract hire isn't. So let me know what you think. Cheers.